Welcome to my channel. I was actually going to do this without any glitches. And as I sat down and pushed that record now or whatever it says go live now button, I realized I did not have my microphone hooked up. It was on the power cord, because I used it a lot yesterday. So I do ask you a favor. If my microphone stops working, please tell me in the chat because I can always shut down that whole system and just use the microphone that's built into my phone, which in some cases is a lot better than this little inexpensive microphone I purchased on Amazon. So if you could help me out there, that would be awesome. I don't think I'll clip it there. I think I'll clip it down here. How are you? Good morning. Hello. What is today, you guys? Help me out. I know it's January 2nd. Do you like this? I love it. Just going to turn my table a little bit. Things straightened out. Here we go. There we go. Got a couple of books sitting on one of them. The book that I get all my jokes out of. Got another book. I know it's backwards to you guys, but it's Aunt Irma's Cope book, and I'm hoping to start reading it at some point in the near future. It's very 1980s. Oh my goodness, this is going to be amazing. When was it published? Let's see. There's a beautiful little message here for the person that gifted it to Judy on December 25th of 1980. Dear Judy, read this and tell me how to get from Monday to Friday in just 12 days. Thanks for being so cooperative in working with Mike and me. We really appreciate your attitude in wanting to learn all you can about, I don't know, it's 3 letters and I'm not sure what they stand for. And in assisting us. People like you are hard to find, and we feel very fortunate to have you on our team. Merry Christmas, Linda and Mike. Well, that's cool. That was nice. Hello, Logan. I haven't seen you in a few days. I started. But I'm not going to start reading this book yet. I just read you what is that called when they put a little thing in the front of the book? What is it called? It's not official. This is a gift that was given, just a little something. But I want to know when this was published because it was gifted in 1980, which means the humor in here is going to be hilarious and some of us won't get it. Oh, 1979. Okay. Irma Bombeck. If you don't know Irma Bombeck, you have not had the life I've had. She was absolutely amazing. She was very, very funny. I would say her humor was dry, if I'm remembering it all correctly, self-depreciating, but just a hilarious woman. Let's see. Irma Bombeck's books have established her as America's best-selling, best-loved humorist. It is well known that Mrs. Bombeck is dynamic, attractive, and into asparagus. A noted think thin activist, she was once arrested for throwing a butterscotch sundae off a cliff without remorse. Mrs. Bombeck lives in Paradise Valley, Arizona, and she has since passed away. Hi, Jackson. She was a comedian, Logan. Yes, she was very funny. You might find some of her work on YouTube, still old clips of Irma Bombeck. She was hilarious. I thought she was hilarious, and I don't even know. 1980? We didn't have a television in 1980. So I probably didn't know much about her, unless I saw her maybe on a TV special at a friend's house. And I did go to friends' houses. So maybe I watched The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and she would be on there, and she was funny. But she had remember the old calendars? They were about this size, but 365 pages. And every day there was a quote and told the day of the year and all that, and then you just ripped it off and threw it in the trash. Irma Bombeck had one of those calendars, and I know I owned it, and I don't remember when it was, but it was 365 Irma Bombeck jokes or sayings in that thing. It was awesome, very funny. Um, where do you live? You live in Arizona, Jackson? What did they say? Where does she live? For Paradise Valley, Arizona. I knew people from Paradise, California, who lost everything in a huge fire a few years ago. Okay, I'm trying to get centered. I want to know if Chirping Homestead comes in, if she's able to, you know what? That's funny. I've been chatting with this person in my chat and in my comments. I have no idea if it's a man or a woman. That's the thing about the internet, unless you can see them or unless they tell you. Anyway, the YouTuber known as Chirping Homestead said they were not able to see to do chats in my last live feed. I was very sad about that. You live in Paradise Valley? Wow. Is it paradise? Just put my laptop in my lap. It is hot. It's been on my couch. My cushion over here is pretty warm. It it's an iMac and it's so old I can't do updates anymore. Thanks for the thumbs up. Hey, 15 people in here. That's cool. I want to show you guys a little miracle I found this morning before I get into the jokes. I'll show you my miracle. This is one of my succulents. It's my original. Scorching hot. Yeah. I'm sorry. Scorching hot. Yeah, it sounds like it. Paradise Valley. Why would they call it that? Maybe the original settlers? Hey, Oskino Cash? Hi. Uh, Jackson, I'm thinking maybe when the original settlers came over the mountain and saw the valley, maybe it was in the spring and they had just had a monsoon blow through maybe a week or two before. So everything was blooming and it was beautiful and there was water and they just went, "Oh, this valley is paradise," especially after going across the desert, right? Because the desert is beautiful for a couple of weeks, is my memory. I remember as a child, I didn't even really know God. I knew there was a God, didn't know much about God, certainly didn't know Jesus, did not have a relationship with him or have any kind of faith. But I remember as a teenager, 15 years old, I was in a situation where I was in a small village in Costa Rica, and the neighboring houses had cracks in the walls. Like they had what we would think of as fencing material on their walls, and there was no insulation and no interior walls. So at night, you could see the light coming through the walls, through the fence boards. They didn't need much. It was Costa Rica. They didn't need heat or cool. Well, they probably needed cooling. It gets pretty hot there. Anyway, they didn't need heat for sure. And I guess the cracks in the walls provided a good breeze. That cools you down, right? But they also had dirt floors. And I don't know about the sewer, but I know the gray water all from all the houses was plumbed, using that term loosely, to go down to a ditch in front of the houses along the side of the dirt road. And that's where the children played in the water. So they were playing in the sink and bathtub and shower and washing water. It was kind of gross. It was kind of gross. And I remember as a 15-year-old seeing that and saying to this God that I did not know, "I will live anywhere you tell me to live, and I won't complain." Because of the way those children were growing up, I realized how incredibly privileged I was to be growing up where I grew up, which was in the central part of California, right on the Pacific Ocean. I shouldn't say on. I was a 10-minute drive away from the ocean. I was extremely blessed to have grown up in that environment with real walls, with insulation and interiors, because I helped put in some of those walls because my dad bought a house that needed to be fixed up. Anyway, every time I go to the desert, that little 15-year-old promise to God comes up in my mind, and I think, "Oh, this would be hard." I think, I know I promised I would not complain, God, wherever you put me, but how could I live in the desert? I mean, I'm a grower. I love to have a garden. I've got a friend right now who is a master gardener, and she's always had a garden. And she lives in, I think she's in Montana now. And where she lives, she actually can't grow a garden because the wind is so hot that whenever she has plants growing, it just turns them into crispies. It's really sad. This is a succulent. Yes, it's a little aloe plant. It's not an aloe vera, but it's an aloe of some sort. And this is a different one right here. This came off of this fell off of a different plant a while back, and I just stuck it in with this aloe. This aloe is in bad shape, guys. It's got little pups here, 2 little pups. It's got 1 pup that grew real big. It needs to be completely dismantled and put into probably 6 different containers. And just because I need 6 more containers on my table in the dining room. That was sarcasm. Anyway, this one came off of a different plant a few months ago, and I just stuck it in here. And this morning I took a look at it. I'm going to try not to ruin it. Oh, I might have to use a pen for this one. I don't think I have a tool I can do it with. I think I'm going to have to use a pen. I wish I had a tool to do this with. I just set it in the dirt a couple months ago thinking, wonder if anything will happen. See that? Those are roots. Because 3 tiny little pups are growing on this leaf that I just put down in the. Hey, Larry, I haven't seen you in forever. Can you believe that? Isn't that awesome? I love this. So I've got 3 little pups. They're very delicate, and I hope I didn't just kill them by dragging them out like I did. But that excited me. That was really cool. And when I say it's a miracle, it's because I believe in God, and I believe that God created the earth to sustain us, and He doesn't mind if things please us. And yes, I refer to God as He, although we are created in His image, even women. So, Larry, when was the last time you were here? Was it when we were watching the neighbors put in their windows, or have you been here since? Because I feel like you've been here since the window thing finished. Oh, by the way, the windows are not finished. I feel bad for the people that live there. I I see a lady out a lot. I need to go over and say hi and introduce myself. And I've seen a man over there recently too. Well, recently, since winter started. But I want to find out about the windows. I just don't know how to do it. You haven't seen the windows? Oh, I thought you were here during the window debacle. Okay, I'm sorry. Um, yeah, they had 2 men install some windows in their second floor, and it never got finished. They're weatherproof and they're in, but aesthetically they're not finished. I don't know if they're in court. I don't know what's going on over there. Kind of curious. I want to go, hey, I watched them put the windows in. They look great. And then they can tell me blah, blah, blah. And then I can go, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. All right. So that's my story. Oh, I have another story to tell. I told this in my last video, my last live, I think 2 days ago. I've been really pushing on YouTube for the last 12 months. I decided to revive my channel because when I was demonetized originally, multiple years ago, when they changed how you could become monetized, it just looked like such an uphill battle. I thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to do what they're telling me to do in order to be monetized again. And I don't honestly know how much money I have from Google because it all went into an account that is dead to me and I have no access to it unless I fly all the way to California. Not really worth the ticket if I only have like $300 or $400 in there. So we'll see. I mean, just flying there, then I'd have to rent a car. Oh, God. Anyway, At least I have a place to stay if I want to go over there. I decided a year ago, because I haven't been able to work for the last couple of years, I've had a lot of health issues, and I've always had a teacher's mentality, personality. Not really when I was young, but you know what? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I did. When I was really young, I used to play school with my friends, and I was always the teacher. I'm such a weirdo. Okay, Larry. Well, that's cool. Thank you for being here. It's nice to see you again. So, in my early 20s, I opened up my first licensed daycare, and it was mostly infants. And then when I was in my late 20s, I opened my second licensed daycare because I moved to a new location. And that one, most of the kids were older, so I did a preschool. And right about the same time, I started teaching through a program called, I think it was called Project Wild, and it was teaching ecology and conservation to school age children, generally in primary school. So I taught that, and I taught about respecting wildlife and all kinds of fun things. And it was all volunteer work. I did it, even though I was teaching the Project Wild curriculum, I did it through a nonprofit wildlife rehabilitation center that I volunteered for, and I rehabbed tons of critters. Pardon me. Tons and tons of critters every year. Then that turned into teaching theater for money in grammar schools and other places. And I got paid through a nonprofit. I forget what it was called. I should know. I worked for them for around 10 years. Anyway, made really good money teaching theater arts as an artist in residence. And I also taught science at a one room schoolhouse that was full of homeschoolers aged second through eighth grade. And I wrote all of the curriculum, and my students did fantastic on the state testing. Like they blew their fellow students out of the water on their state testing in science because I wasn't a credentialed teacher. I was just a lifelong learner of sciences, and I got college textbooks and I wrote my curriculum from the college textbooks, and I wrote it for second through eighth grade. So when I was teaching the class, we had a young man from college come visit us one day. He was going to the local university and he was a horticulture major. And he came in and saw what I was teaching the kids. And he said, I didn't learn that till my second year in university. I was like, okay. So I taught there for, I think, 2 years. And I was still doing the theater arts teaching at that point. And I guess that's it for my teaching. But I also, no, I also taught improvisation classes because I was a drama teacher. That kind of worked into teaching improvisation classes at a local studio in a big city market. And I taught one class. It was a series. I think it was 8 total classes, and I taught it once, and it was adult improv. It was a lot of fun. So much fun. And I haven't really done much teaching in the last few years, but on YouTube, I can teach things. I can show people things like that succulent that I just showed you. All you have to do is take a leaf off your succulent, let it sit in the air for 24 hours, and then just lay it down on moist soil, never wet, never completely dry, and it will grow pups. And then in time, you can transplant those pups and you can be like me, surrounded by pups. I mean, it's ridiculous. I've done videos on it in the past. I have so many pups. I have them in little antique liqueur glasses, real thin crystal that I don't drink liqueur. My husband doesn't drink liqueur. Nobody wants to buy liqueur glasses. So I have them. I'm just looking to see if I have one within reach. I don't, but I literally have a half a dozen babies over there. Some of them are fairly big now. I have more than a half a dozen over there. I have more than a half a dozen over there. And I have more than a dozen in the dining room. I have them everywhere from 2 original plants. I'm crazy. Okay, what else? Oh, the 12 months of YouTube. So I started doing it because I love to teach people things. I love to show people things. I love the conversation. I'm really into human interactions, but I've been very sick for the last couple of years. I haven't been able to work. I had 2 jobs when I got sick, and for the last 2.5 years, I just haven't had the energy. Yesterday was my first day having energy, like really having energy, and I went out into the forest with my chainsaw, and I did some cutting, and you can see those videos, they're posted. And the chainsaw is a little electric bower. She's not real powerful. She has a very dull chain on her, although Dave did eventually put a sharp chain on her. Now, I can change out a chain on a chainsaw, but I don't know which ones are sharpened and which ones aren't. And apparently he didn't either, because one of the ones he put on it was just as dull as the first one. Anyway, Jaja, that's not necessary. This is going to go on for a minute, you guys. I may have to turn off my microphone. She's right there. Bean, hey, Jaja, I'm in charge. I'm the one that's armed. I mean, she's armed with a mouthful of teeth, but I'm armed with lead. Hello. Anyway, so I wanted to monetize my channel again, so I started doing videos. Jaja, stop. Hey, pay attention. It's okay. She thought I threw a carrot at her. I just tossed my pen at her. Stop. This is fun. If I was like that guy on YouTube that had his dog, oh God, did you guys see that guy? I forget. His uncle has a YouTube channel that's super popular, Young Turks. And I forget what his uncle's name is, but the nephew is just a major douchebag. And he has a dog always in the background of his videos, and she's lying on this bed in the background. And apparently he keeps her there by shocking her if she moves. And he shocked her one time and she yelped. I think he meant to give her the vibration, but he accidentally hit the shock. And he was basically chased off the internet. So anyway, back to me. I wanted to become monetized because it's something I can do. I have to do my morning chores. I have to do my evening chores. I have to do my gardening because it's in my blood. I have to garden. There are things I have to do. So I like to show people what I'm doing. Maybe it's narcissism. I don't know. But I wanted to be able to make money at it because I can't work. I can't get a job and work. I can't count on my energy being here. Also, I'm going to the drag races. I like to share that with people. So YouTube's been pushing doing short videos. Do shorts, do shorts, do shorts. And I've been like, okay, so I've been doing shorts. I do anywhere from 9 to maybe 12 or 15 short videos every day, get tons of views, you guys. 500 to 600 watch hours per month, which I thought was really good because at 3,000, I can become monetized and I can start earning a little bit of money through my videos. But I wasn't getting any closer to monetization because even though my watch hours were in the 500 to 600 hours per month, I was only getting credit for about 30 at the most. And I was really pushing the shorts every day, uploading tons of short videos. So yesterday or 2 days ago, I got a hold of someone at customer service. I was actually, or creator services, I was actually on a chat with a real life human being, which is amazing. And this person told me that short videos don't count towards monetization. They pushed and pushed me to do short videos. So I've been doing shorts. So yesterday I stopped. I mean, I did a couple of shorts yesterday, but now I'm doing full-length videos. And some of them are less than a minute long, but at least I get credit for that minute that goes toward eventually being monetized. So if you as viewers don't mind, you're going to still see my goats, you're going to still see my ducks, you'll still see some of my gardening. A short video is anywhere from 1 second, maybe 5 seconds, I don't know, to 3 minutes, okay? Some of my regular videos will be 40 seconds, 50, a minute and a half, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. Some of them will be the same length as a short video, but they will be horizontal. They won't be vertical. So all you have to do is go into my channel and click on my videos or my live streams. That's where I will get my credit. I don't get credit toward monetization from my short videos. I would if I had 3 million views every quarter. I have anywhere from 250 to 350,000 per quarter. I'm a long way away from 3 million views per quarter. But if you want to help support my channel, if you want to help me do what I can do physically, please go and watch my regular videos and my live streams. If you have the time, I know time is a thing. Yesterday, I cut up some trees with my very sad, pathetic saw, although I do like it. I can handle it. I can work alone in the forest. And yes, it takes more time than a gas powered. And we do have a whole bunch of gas powered saws, but I can't start them by myself. If I turn them off, I have to go find my husband to start them. And sometimes he's in another state, like yesterday. He goes to Virginia, and I'm still in Tennessee. He's not always there to start my saw, is what I'm saying. So I love the electric saws because they allow me to do small work, which is really my thing anyway. But those look at yesterday's videos, you guys, and just listen to that poor saw putting out all she had, but the chains were extremely dull. Yeah, Larry, you are so right. And I don't feel like they lied to me or duped me because if I had read the fine print, I would have seen that short video views do not count and I would not have focused on shorts. Although the shorts do get me more viewers, they get me more subscribers. So it is worth still doing shorts, but I'm not going to focus on them. And sometimes YouTube won't let me upload a video as a regular video. They make me upload it as a short. If I'm shooting it like this and it's under 3 minutes, or well, up to 3 minutes long, I cannot submit it as a long form video. I can put an intro and an outro on it that'll make it longer than 3 minutes, and then they have to let me upload it as a regular video. It's just really it's really a thing with YouTube. But I've been looking in YouTube trying to find what doesn't count towards my watch hours. I did do my due diligence and I did not see where it said shorts. I saw where it told me what was not considered and it did not say shorts are not considered. So I was looking in the wrong place, obviously. 2 days ago, this human being helped me and I had the wind totally knocked out of my sails. I could not believe that I had been working so hard for 12 months. There are days when I don't have the energy. I don't have, because I have almost at times debilitating asthma and also the issues with um, my endocrine system. I don't know. I have some type of fatigue, my adrenal system. I have adrenal fatigue and I'm taking supplements and I forgot to take them. I forgot to take them today. I have medication, over the counter medication supplements that I'm taking to try to reverse the adrenal fatigue. But the asthma is working toward that. The fact that I'm an old woman is hurting me. And I'm under a lot of stress as well. I have a lot of stressors in my life. So all three of those together have wiped out my endocrine system. No, my adrenal system. Why do I always want to do that one? Endocrine, that's an E. Adrenal. My adrenal system. It is overworked, underpaid, apparently. So my doctor has me on, what am I taking? A vitamin D and vitamin K supplement that's actually easily absorbed. And some type of an over-the-counter hormone. I can't think of what it is. It's 4 letters. I should know. I take them every day. I look at the bottle every day. You guys, my brain. Again, adrenal fatigue, right? So anyway, YouTube is something I can do. It's a way I can bring in money, but there are days when I have no energy, but I still take my camera, shoot a few videos of my goats and my ducks, talk about it, rally up the energy to put those videos out, and then it turns out that none of them counted. They did get me a lot of viewers, a lot of subscribers, and I am thankful for that because my subscriber count has exploded in the last year. I went from under 50, I think under 50 subscribers to 3,000 something. It works for me. Larry, I love my goats too. I only have 4. I posted a video the other day. If you want to go look at it, it's kind of fun for guys. The men usually love this one. It's Dave on a rented bulldozer. And at the very end of the video, it shows what our goat and sheep herd used to look like back in 2021. There were so many. We brought a lot out from California with us. That livestock trailer was full. It's crazy. We have sold quite a few, and then we've lost some to uh, one to old age, one to unfortunately bladder crystals that burst his bladder. Horrible way for a goat to go. And yeah, we've sold most of them, sold many of them. Anyway, I want to be able to make a little money, y'all. That's all I want to do. And I know that means you'll have to watch advertisements in my videos, and I apologize for that. You don't actually have to watch them. At this point, YouTube doesn't care if you watch them or not. If they show up on your screen and you click the skip button or whatever it is, they don't care. I would still get the same amount of money if you skipped the ads. So, and that's what I do usually, unless I've got my earpiece in. I have Shocks, if you guys want to find some great earbuds. These are Shocks. They go over my ear. I was not paid to say anything about them. And I actually use these, then I'll leave my phone out here in the living room and I'll be in the kitchen washing dishes or something, something feminine. Anyway, oh, girl job. And I can listen to it, and then the ads come on and I'm listening to it and I don't click them off. So I do listen to a few ads. I don't like all the ads. Some of them are just music. They're visual ads with just music. And it's just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be buying because I'm not watching the video. I'm just listening to it. You are in the country and you're going to move to the city, Larry? I'm sorry. I mean, okay, cities are fun. Cities are fun. I live in a city right now. And it's fun. I'm a half a mile. Sorry guys. I'm gonna turn this off for a second and I've got to cough up some asthma for just a second. I'm back. Coughed up a frog, threw it over there. I did not cough up a frog. I'm kidding. Anyway, we're a half a mile away from an entertainment center where we go probably 5 times a year and watch a show. We watch comedians, bands, solo artists. We're just real close to downtown and it's amazing. It's very nice to be so close to downtown. We've got a major grocery store, 5 or 6 blocks away. There's a pharmacy down that way. Our pharmacy is not too far away. My husband's father is about 5 minutes away. Oh, COPD, that sucks. My asthma could lead to COPD. So if you're moving to the city, you're going to be a lot closer to your medical, right? That's important, especially with COPD. Yeah, I found out my asthma could lead to COPD. Just ridiculous. Anyway, getting old, folks. Let's talk about that. Let me see if we've got some jokes about getting old. Let's see. Old age, page 346. Oh gosh, this is going to be fun. From the Little Giant Encyclopedia of One-Liners. Also, I just realized these are dad jokes. These are total dad jokes. Not all of them, a lot of them. Okay, old age. Oh, I just did this one the other day. George Burns, I've been around for a while. When I was a boy, the Dead Sea was only sick. Sorry, guys, I already did old age. You're only 43? Larry, was it the industry you worked in? Sometimes that happens. My asthma could have been caused partially by growing up in a home with parents who smoked inside the house and the car. That's possible. Accidentally mixing bleach and vinegar once, and that really hurt. Like, that hurt. That was a hurt of hurting hurts. Now that we're in Tennessee, just down the road from us, it's on the other side of the border. It's in Virginia. There's a landfill that's putting out a lot of toxic chemicals, and people who are breathing it are having a lot of asthma problems. And although I don't smell it much anymore, I've been here for 4.5 years. It's possible those chemicals have affected my asthma because I have never had such bad asthma as I have now where I'm living. So there we go. You have a little bit of dispensation, a genetic. Oh, you have family members with that? That is really sad. So sometimes my mom does feel guilty about smoking around us kids. They didn't tell you. They didn't tell you smoking was wrong. I can't give up on the jokes though. Okay, we're not going to do any old age jokes. Let's do some health and fitness jokes, unless I've already read them. I don't know if I've read them. I'll see when I get there. You guys haven't heard them, so that's cool, right? Health by Jackie Mason. Jackie Mason, look him up. It's no longer a question of staying healthy. It's a question of finding a sickness that you like. Oh, a bottle rocket. Larry, did you do that on purpose? Did you blow up a bottle rocket in your nose on purpose? That that is that is a lot of sulfur, right? And a lot of heat. That's a nuts. Robert Orban said, "Quit worrying about your health. It'll go away." I haven't read this one yet. So these are all first timers for me, you guys. Red Fox, a comedian, REDD, Red Fox. Health nuts are going to feel stupid someday, lying in hospitals dying of nothing. You were too young. Oh, that is so sad. A bottle rocket went off in your. Oh, that is really sad. Golly. Mark Twain. I knew someone who knew Mark Twain. It was probably 15 years ago, and the man was in his 90s. I was actually his caregiver. This is going to be a Mark Twain one liner. Is it a one liner? Yeah. Mark Twain was lazy. Apparently, this man lived on or was close to a commune where a whole bunch of people lived. You know, California in what, the 1940s, 50s would have been a lot of communes, let's just put it that way. And the deal was you stayed there either free or cheap, but you had to do chores every day. You had your stuff that you did every day. Mark Twain didn't do his stuff every day. He just lived off of everybody else's hard work, took a lot of naps, and was not very well respected because of it. That's according to this man I took care of. Mark Twain, the only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. That goes along with the story I just told about Mark Twain, doesn't it? I don't think he wanted to keep his health because he did not do what he didn't want to do. He didn't do his chores. Josh Billings. I am not familiar with Josh Billings. There are a lot of people in this world who spend so much time watching their health that they haven't the time to enjoy it. Hello, Isabella Sutton. Nice to see you. I loved seeing your critters come out of their coop on the first day of 2026. Did you slow it down on purpose or was that an accident? Because when it went into slow-mo, I wasn't sure if you did that on purpose or not. Sometimes people accidentally go into slow-mo. Okay. None of these are attributed. These are dad jokes, you guys. So let's get them, get them recorded so we can remember them. I send dad jokes to my grandchildren regularly in text messages just to pester them. I've never been sick a day in my life. Nights I get a little nauseous, but days, never. Okay. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. An onion a day keeps everyone away. Garlic, too, right? I know garlic is supposed to be healthy, and I know people who eat a lot of garlic. Do mosquitoes not like people who eat garlic? Is that why they do it? Because if that's the case, I'll eat garlic spring, summer, and fall. I am not allergic to garlic. It's better to be healthy than wise. If it's sick, it costs you money, but you can be stupid for free. Okay. I don't know if I get that one. If you've got your health, you've got everything. And if you don't have your health, sooner or later, your doctor has everything. Oh, God. Thank God for insurance, right? Yes, we are so health conscious today. But what good is health? It can't buy money. No, that's a silly one. A friend of mine went to a new health club and lost 4 pounds immediately. And that was only his first payment. That was a British comedian. My uncle ate nothing but oat bran every day of his life, and he lived a healthy, happy life up until the day he fell in love and tried to marry the horse that won the Kentucky Derby. Okay, that is a silly joke. I don't know about that joke. I like jokes that are kind of based on reality. Oat bran. He was regular. We're going to say he was very regular. My grandfather always used to ask me, "What's more important, your money or your health?" I'd say, "My health." He'd say, "Great. Can you lend me 20 bucks?" Grandpa, he wasn't trying to be philosophical, he was trying to get some money. Okay, this is an interaction between George Burns and his wife, Gracie Allen, right? Was George Burns married to Gracie Allen? Oh, I could be wrong. I could be attributing the wrong marriage. Anyway, George, Gracie, did the nurse ever happen to drop you on your head when you were a baby? Gracie said, "Oh no, we couldn't afford a nurse. My mother had to do it." Gracie Allen was very funny. She played a bimbo. Oh my gosh. Larry, you might be the only one in here right now. Check it out. Hospitals are weird. They put you in a private room and then give you a public gown. Milton Berle. They are a little better now. They used to just tie in the back. Now they wrap around. I think that's very kind of them. After my surgeries, I tried to wear like leggings under my hospital gown just because the idea of not having anything on when I was walking up and down the halls, even though I was covered, I didn't like it. I wanted it, not that a breeze is going to come blowing through the hospital, but I wanted to have something else. W.C. Fields. After 2 days in the hospital, I took a turn for the nurse. Yeah, I could see W.C. Fields doing that. I had a very tough nurse in the hospital. She had a black belt in nursing. Have you ever had one of those? I did. I had one of those when I was 2.5 years old trying to die in the hospital. Was I 2.5? Wait a minute. Yeah, I think I was about 2.5 years old. The nurse was so mean. She was so mean. And there was a student nurse that was the sweetest thing. She was just so kind. And the main nurse on the floor, and I would have been in pediatrics, there was a child in the crib next to me. I was in a bed, but there was a child in a crib in the room with me. And the child in the room with me was actually dying. There was no hospice back then, but the child was actually dying. I don't know from what. It was horrible. But what people were sending me flowers in vases, and they would have been in ceramic vases. This was the 1960s. It would have been 1964 or 65. And one of my vases fell and cracked and it kind of broke. And I was sad. If I remember right, it was a bunny rabbit. Well, hello, what 2.5-year-old doesn't love a bunny rabbit, right? Let's see. I was so nice, but when I felt better, I was a mess to the nurses. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Nurses take a lot of crap. Yeah, but this nurse was awful. She was mad because the student nurse came in with a roll of scotch tape and taped my little bunny vase back together. I don't think it ever held water again. It definitely never held water again. But at least it was taped together. And the nurse was mad at her and yelled at her for wasting tape. I was 2.5 years old. And I remember. I have quite a few memories of that hospital. Hey, watcher of wrongs. You like to play with the nurses? I remember them holding me because my fever was so high. I had a fever of 106 when my mom took me to the hospital. And actually, back in the 1960s, you could not take someone to the hospital without a doctor referring you. But she carried me into the emergency room and they said, "Who's your referring physician?" And she says, "I don't have one." And they said, "Well, she can't come in." I was dying. My fever was 106. My kidneys were preparing to shut down and I was going to die. The doctor told my mom, back in the day, you could call the doctor at night. You didn't have to go to the emergency room, right? The doctor told my mom when she called and said, she's, I was passed out. Um, I didn't have a seizure, but I wasn't responding. I was non responsive. And the doctor said, "Give her 2 children's aspirin and call me in the morning." I mean, he literally said that to the mother of a 2.5-year-old who was kind of in a coma-ish. I was non-responsive with a fever of 106. And she took me to the emergency room. She demanded that they admit me. They didn't want to. I guess they called the doctor, and the doctor gave them permission to admit me to the hospital. And then to bring my fever down, they would. Now, I don't know how they did this because I don't remember everything, but I remember people holding me down in an ice bath to lower my fever because my brain was cooking, which explains a lot, right? I'm sorry. They say a fever of 102 starts to cook your brain. Mine was 106. Pretty sure my brain is cooked. I'll donate my brain to science. They can tell me what that high fever at 2.5 years old did to my brain. Anyway, maybe it's just a little seared around the edges. Uh, baked. Oh, God. Anyway, I remember them holding me down in the bath, and I remember screaming. And then when I first woke up, now this is a little bit personal, so guys, I apologize. Back in the day, dishwashers were portable. And in fact, we have a portable dishwasher right now. And you have to wheel it over to the sink and you hook it up to the sink and you turn the water on, you run your load, and it does the whole thing. Back in the day, dishwashers were not installed, they were portable. We had a portable dishwasher. I don't know why, because my dad didn't believe in dishwashers. He believed my mom should do the dishwashing. Anyway, we had a portable dishwasher. That's the preface for my brain. I was only 2.5 years old. And as Larry said, I was half baked. Okay. I was not thinking clearly. I woke up out of whatever, I'm going to say coma, but I don't know if that's actually true, right? And I had a catheter in. And I thought the catheter was the dishwashing machine. I thought I was hooked up to a dishwasher. And I panicked and I was trying to pull it out with my feet and I was screaming and crying. And then somebody came in, probably not the horrible nurse. What did he say about the nurse? I took a turn for the nurse. That was hilarious. Da, 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 da. I don't remember. Oh, yeah, black belt in nursing. So I don't think she was the one that explained it to me because she would have just slapped me and told me to shut up. Somebody explained that's a catheter. And they told me what it was, and then I relaxed and I was okay. But yeah, I remember waking up with the catheter. And then what else do I remember? The little girl, I think it was a little girl over there, mostly curled up in the fetal position with the back facing me. Don't remember much about that poor little thing. The nice nurse, the mean nurse, my broken bunny, the ice baths. They gave me a lot of ice baths. Now what they've discovered, um, you didn't have a fear of death until that happened. Yeah, Larry, you know what? Kids don't. Hey, Derek Jones. You said being told that you are about to die. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. That's terrible. Um, Yeah, yeah, God sometimes protects us from things we have no idea what's going on when he's doing those things for us. I know God protected me in Costa Rica and Guatemala, let me tell you. As a 15-year-old, holy cow. Oh, if I had a guardian angel, he was pissed at me. And I was with my mom. I mean, my mom should have been in charge. At some point at 15, I took over and I became in charge because I knew my mom was not prepared to be in charge of that trip to Guatemala. I don't know how I took charge. But anyway, what else do I remember about that hospital? Not a whole lot. 2.5 years old. Then at 3 years old, we went to Guatemala the first time because my grandparents and my two younger aunts were living in Guatemala City. And he was teaching at the university there. He was on a sabbatical from his work in the United States. You kept your angels busy. A lot of boys do, Larry. A lot of boys keep their guardian angels very busy. I've seen that with my husband. I would show you what I gave him for Christmas. I think it's a little sign. I think it says, when does the old enough to know better kick in? And he's 65. He said he saw that sign at Hobby Lobby and he almost bought it. I gave it to him for Christmas. Hey, Godfather, great state of Georgia. I'm just north of you. I'm up here in Tennessee. I'm in the northeast corner of Tennessee, enjoying beautiful weather. I happen to have energy today. I might go into the forest and cut some trees. I might take a gas-powered saw with me. We'll see. Got a lot of work to do. I've got to build up a bunch of burn piles so that when it is time to burn, I can burn them. I will wear a mask. Don't want to inhale too many particles. It does tend to really kick my asthma into gear. Anyway, Guatemala as a little girl, 3 years old, I remember several things. Now, one thing I forgot, give you a little more of a story here. I looked like a little Guatemalan baby. I had olive skin, big, big brown eyes, dark hair. I looked like I could speak the language, okay? I looked like a little Guatemalan baby, so much so, my mom said when they got there, she was a little concerned that they might not be able to get me back. It was the 1960s, and people were stealing children from Guatemala. And back then, you could travel with a child with no papers. So my brother, blonde-haired, hazel-eyed, he's fine, although a lot of Costa Ricans are blonde-haired, hazel-eyed. But anyway, not Guatemala. At one point, we were near the railroad tracks in Guatemala City, and the train conductor blew the whistle. I was 3, you guys. I did not expect that. And I screamed and ran into a house. I was just like, I am not having this. I am not dying here today. Not here. Not now. I ran into this house screaming. And my mom said the house was full of people. Like the living room was full of people. And I'm just standing in the middle of the living room screaming. Apparently, they were all trying to comfort me because in those maybe 5 seconds that it took my family to get to me, they just thought this little Guatemalan girl had run into their house. ¿Dónde está su mamá? I don't know what they said. Or tu mamá? I don't know. I don't know enough Spanish anymore. Arkansas. Arkansas. That's what I thought it was pronounced like when I was a little girl. Arkansas? I don't remember that we had a state called Arkansas. Arkansas. So in Guatemala, what do I remember? I remember waking up in the morning, every morning, and having a bowl of Fruit Loops. Every morning. That was like the biggest treat to me because we did not have Fruit Loops at our house growing up in California. My mom, Arkansas, exactly. That's how it's pronounced. But when we were learning US states in grammar school, I knew Arkansas. Hello. But I'm looking at the map and it says Arkansas. And I'm going, wait a minute. Arkansas. And it never even crossed my mind that it was actually Arkansas. I did not raise my hand. Excuse me, teacher. Because if I did, what's the state of Arkansas? There would be people on YouTube right now talking about that dumb girl that was half-baked from 106-degree fever, are asking about Arkansas in 3rd grade. Okay. Thankfully, I knew enough then to not ask. Okay, let's see. Derek, just listening to you makes me realize that you've seen things from your perspective. Oh, you're 60 years old. Oh, thank you, Derek Jones. That's awesome. Thank you. So, 3 years old in Guatemala City, waking up, eating Fruit Loops, okay? And my grandparents had a maid in the house. Her name was Araceli. She was beautiful and sweet and kind and meek, but maybe not so meek. Okay, I'll tell you what she did. I was happily eating my Fruit Loops. I was 3 years old. I was just digging the sugar. If I could have injected it directly into my vein, I would have. My brother finally drags his sorry butt downstairs and he's pouring his Fruit Loops into the bowl. And I kid you not, I thought it was this big. I don't know how big it was. I was 3. A black cockroach came out of the Fruit Loops into my brother's bowl and ran off somewhere in the kitchen. I don't know if Araceli killed it, but I will tell you this. She took away my Fruit Loops. She took away my brother's Fruit Loops. She threw the Fruit Loops in the trash. Okay, here's my brain again. Thank you, Larry. Half baked. 3 years old. The cockroach is gone. There's no more threat. The cockroach is gone. Besides, it was in my brother's Fruit Loops, not mine. Why am I being punished? Okay, the great Fruit Loop episode of 1960 whatever, 65 or 66. Okay, that's one memory. Another memory I have is because it was Guatemala City in the 1960s, security was a real issue. All of the doors and windows had grates on them with locks. And my grandparents had a fence in the back. It wasn't a fence, it was a block wall in the back. And along the whole top of the block wall were broken off bottles that had been cemented in. So they took pop bottles and they broke them and put them along the top. And that was to discourage people from crawling over the wall. Sorry, my oatmeal is trying to make a my oatmeal is causing a scene right now, making me burp. So I remember that wall, and the wall looked about 10 feet tall to me. Of course, perspective. Now I'm sure it was probably a 6-foot wall, but it was way up there, and I was confused about why there was glass in the wall. It didn't make sense to me. So I was told it was to keep people out. I also remember waking up one morning, and there was a doll next to me, and she was a handmade Guatemalan soft fabric doll with a basket on her head, and she looked like me, and that's why my parents gave her to me because they found her at the market, and she looked like me. So I named her Lisa because that was my nickname as a child growing up, was Lisa. And I had her until recently. I may still have her in a box somewhere. Most of her hair has been eaten off by I don't even know what. You grew up with roaches, Larry? I did not. I'll tell you what, I didn't know anything about roaches. All I knew was that black thing that was as big as my thumb. I still think it was a really big cockroach. It was gone. As far as I knew, I knew nothing about poop. I knew nothing about saliva, disease. All I knew was Araceli took away my cereal and broke me. I was broken. There's no doubt the neighbors heard me screaming. Okay. So I woke up with the little doll Lisa, loved her forever. I've always had her with me, but then she's been in storage for probably 30 years plus. So she's had some issues with mites and things, I think, that ate her hair, wool hair. So maybe it was moths. I remember going on a car ride to have a picnic in a field. And I remember there was a fence. The field, it was just memory, right? We were on the side of the road having a picnic. It could have been a little park. It could have been just a roadside picnic table. I don't know what it was. We were on the side of the road. There was a fence in the distance, and then there was a little hill, and at the top of the hill there was a house. And I asked about the house, and somebody told me that's where the gorillas are, and if you go over that fence, they will shoot you and kill you. So that was interesting, being told as a 3-year-old that if I went on the other side of that fence, I would just be shot and killed. I don't know why we were so close to that house. Is this the best place to picnic? Because the fence doesn't it was like it wasn't a chain link fence, it wasn't a wooden fence, it was just a wire fence, almost like barbed wire without the barbs. The fence does not magically stop bullets. But anyway, I was told as a 3-year-old. Hi, Kylie. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. I'm telling stories about when I was 3 years old in Guatemala. Now, another story I tell, and this one is very, very tragic. This I remember, but I remember it completely wrong. And I did not realize I was wrong until I was very much an adult and this memory popped up and I realized what I had actually seen. We were driving in the country somewhere, and it could have been just outside the city. It could have been inside the city. I don't remember a lot around this truck. There was a truck parked on the side of the road, and this is immensely sad. This is I don't have your kids listening to this part of the story unless you're willing to sit down and talk about the CIA and all that stuff and communism and democracy and oh god. Hanging off of the sides, it was a truck with a rack on the back of it, and the rack had rails. I think I'm saying that right. And on the rails were these round things that were black hanging from them. And I was told they were the heads of gorillas. As a child, I thought they had gone into the jungle and killed gorillas because we all know what gorillas are. Even when you're 3 years old, you know what a gorilla is. Those were human beings that were fighting against the government. And I remember them hanging on the truck and asking about them. Those are heads of gorillas. And nobody explained to me what that was. So my whole childhood, early adult life, until I was probably in my 40s, I realized when that memory popped up and I went, oh my gosh, those were humans. Those were humans. That was a warning from the government. Don't mess with us. So I remember that. What else do I have memories of from Guatemala? Just running around playing with my brother in the house. I think that's about it. I remember on the airplane going down, they moved us up to first class for some reason. And I remember sitting on the floor in the aisle. And there was so much room. It was so roomy in first class back then. Oh my gosh. Playing Barbies with another little girl in first class. And we just played Barbies for hours. That was probably on the plane from Los Angeles to Mexico City. I don't think it was on the plane from Mexico City to Guatemala, but flying down to Mexico City, I remember that. I do remember seeing automatic weapons for the first time in my life, besides my brother's little, the little army guys. So I do remember seeing those, but you know what? My memories are kind of mashed. That could be from my trip when I was 15 as well. I don't remember completely. Could be both times I saw automatic weapons for the first time, or well, one time, first time, second time. I don't know. Anyway, in the airport. So it could have been either time. I don't remember. So I remember a lot there. Now, one memory I have, I told my mom about it. I remember exactly what she said. I remember what was happening, who was there. At least I remember two people, my mom and my godfather. And I remember what the playground looked like. And I told my mom about maybe 10 or, oh gosh, how many years ago was it? It's probably closer to 20 years ago. I told her the memory I have, and I asked her how old I was. I assumed I was 2 or 3 years old. She said I was 18 months old when we were at that park. She handed me to my godfather for some reason, and I started screaming and kicking. And she said, oh, she's just being a brat. And I don't remember what happened after that. But I remember the park. I described the park to my mom. I described what happened. And she said the only time we were at that park with my godfather was when I was 18 months old. So there you go. That's crazy, right? I couldn't believe it. I was blown away that I had a memory going back to 18 months old and remember what was said and what was done. I do remember. I was screaming and kicking. And to be fair to me, my godfather was a very scary person. At the time, he was an undercover officer working in a part of San Francisco that was quite scary. So he looked very scary. He looked, he put on the biker persona, long hair, scraggly beard, skeezy clothes. He did the whole thing, and he was a scary looking man, but, he was playing a part. Have I been a scary person in a part? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever played scary. Go back through my brain. I played homeless once. That was fun. Oh god, not scary though. That was creepy. Okay, let's tell some more dad jokes. A hospital is an institution that is dedicated to the cure of disease and modesty. I can't figure out which covers less, the hospital gown or my insurance company. mm, Most hospitals have two accident wards. One of them is the kitchen. That's another story. I was in the hospital when I was, oh gosh, I don't know, this wasn't too many years ago. When was it? It was in the 20 teens, early to mid 20 teens. I was in the hospital. I had, here I am oversharing, a hysterectomy. Hello, it has been a very long time. Yes, welcome back. Hi, ID Kid Gaming. Hello, welcome. So I had a hysterectomy. Okay. Let's just say that's a really good time to not stress out my abdomen, right? Okay. I'm in the hospital. It's in my chart. I cannot be exposed to wheat, rye, or barley gluten because I am a celiac. That means I have an autoimmune disorder. And when I'm exposed to wheat, rye, or barley gluten, my body overreacts and tries to die. Mostly just my intestines try to die. Like we've all got these little, I want to say villi, if I'm right, and they reach up and they grab the nutritional particles in our intestines as we're digesting, and they pull nutrients into our body and all the things, calories, nutrients, everything. Well, mine, whenever I'm exposed to gluten, they just go, and they lie there like seaweed during a low tide. If you've ever been to the beach and you've seen a low tide and it's a seaweed beach, you see all the grasses and the seaweeds are just like flat. That's what happens. So I'm not able to absorb very many nutrients or calories or anything like that when that happens. Stop doing the thing with the fingers. Yeah. Anyway, they brought me breakfast in the morning after my hysterectomy. Oh, all night I was throwing up because I told them I have low blood sugar. I do not have diabetes. I have the opposite. I have low blood sugar. So I told them, if you're giving me dextrose in my IV, please give me more than the 5% or whatever it is, because I will wake up throwing up. That stresses out your abdomen after a surgery, right? I woke up throwing up about every half hour throughout the night. They brought me cranberry juice. She tried to give me crackers, saltine crackers. I said, I'm a celiac. I can't have saltine crackers. She apologized profusely. She was a student nurse. I'm getting you right. So then they gave me apple juice finally, and that put enough sugar in my system that I stopped throwing up. But I think I woke up throwing up like 4 times in the night, put a lot of stress on my stomach. In the morning, they brought me breakfast. It looked great. It looked perfect. I ate everything on my plate. Within about 30 seconds, I knew I was in trouble, but I didn't know what had happened because I had just had abdominal surgery, so I wasn't positive. I knew full on what had happened within about 3 minutes, and I called. Okay, good, you're back. My husband's trying to call me. I may have to get off here quick. I don't know. You wish I was your Nana. Hi, Dirt. Welcome. Okay, so I called, what's it called? The kitchen. What's it called? Nutrition. I don't know. I forget. Anyway, I called them on my phone, like, that's the call I'm making. I'm, and I asked them what they gave me for breakfast. And they said, it's not gluten. And I was cross contaminated. 3 out of the 4 things they gave me for breakfast were not gluten-free. They were cross-contaminated with gluten, and you don't know that unless you are me and you eat it, and then you are sick. So I gathered up all my stuff, my IV pole, I unhooked myself from my leg thing, and I walked down to their office, and I questioned them in there, and I let them know that they sucked. "Hey, Naz, welcome back. Hey, Miss Amy. Amy? Is that Amy? That's a beautiful way to spell it." Um, my husband was with me, and he helped unhook me. He knew he couldn't stop me. He was text me. He's at the store. He wants to buy something. He wants to know if we need it. Okay, guys, real quick. Coming back from that office, the kitchen, I said, "Do you think they understand how important this is?" He said, "I think everybody in the hospital understands how important this is." But what they told me then was they can't feed me. So my husband had to drive 30 minutes to bring me food because I could not trust the hospital to feed me while I was in there. It was ridiculous. Thankfully, I was only in there for 2 days. Oh, Long John Silver's. Oh god, I'm so sorry. I can't eat at Long John Silver's. I don't think I've ever eaten at Long. There's most of the restaurants I've never eaten at because I can't. I have no idea. My husband will tell me this restaurant's really good, and I'll go, really? Do they have a good glass of milk? Because that's all I can have. Do they serve a mean cup of decaf coffee? I'll go there with you. Yeah. Anyway, I'm a pain in the butt to feed. You guys, it has been 71 minutes. I thank you so much for being here, all 5 of you. Thank you for giving me the thumbs up. I am going to end this and call my husband because I know he is wondering why I'm hanging up on him, and I don't want him to feel like he's my second choice. Okay. You guys right now have been my first choice, right? Okay. Now it's time to let him be my first choice. Thank you so much. I'm going to find out if Chirping Homestead is still muted. I don't know why they are muted from my channel. That really bothers me, but I will find out and I will see you guys in the next live stream. Okay. Thank you so much for being here and God bless you.